one place to start. I'm sure there are a lot of you out there concerned, as we were as well, just 4 days ago after the world champion Pekko Bagnaia suffered a horrendous high side on the opening lap of that Catalan Grand Prix. Thankfully, somehow, miraculously, he has walked away or hobbled away unscathed. Came for a medical check this morning, has been declared fit, will be free to ride tomorrow morning in free practice one. Simon, miraculous, is that the only word that we can use given the severity of the crash?
I totally understand why everyone thinks that, and there was, I think, obviously a part of luck in there. Really good equipment these days. There was 5 less riders, I think it was, taken out turn 1, less to run them over. So I think there was some luck there as well. But you know what? These riders are tough. It's because it's not so much tough. It's because they want to ride. He wants the points for this weekend.
These are images from this morning, by the way, as well. So you can see he's moving fairly freely.
But what I would like to put across, just honestly, at the time when I saw the crash, riders know what sort of crashes seriously injure other riders, and it's terrifying, you know. Then it's difficult, like I said live at the time, it's difficult to turn themselves around sitting in that box. I've had to do it when you know it's really bad. And this one, when I saw it, it reminded me of the 500 era, especially before me, because they used to be so light and so nasty that there was 8 guys off the grid at one point. So they raised the weight limit to make them a little bit more predictable. And they had crashes like that all the time. I had them regularly, you know, where you get high-sided launched and hit the ground. And we're about to see it. And we're about to see first the 5 riders get taken out. And it was Paolo Simoncelli who said, there was a little bit of luck in that because there were so many less riders right behind, you know.
Alex Marquez said in his debrief this afternoon, quote, Enea Bastianini saved Pekko Bagnaia's life.
Well, I mean, we'll never know, but yes, because when I saw the crash, the high side, they're horrible. Like I said, I've had lots of them with worse equipment, and they're brutal. It takes such a long time for your body to wake back up from that impact, you know, to get things moving. And it's like jumping off onto the concrete line, landing horrible. But if you don't bang your head too bad, you're conscious. The other injuries from that, as painful as they are, they're normally normal. The sort of injuries riders come into the sport expecting. It's that his leg got run over, not his upper body or, God forbid, head, is when you have injuries that you come into the sport not expecting, and everyone is horrified to see, you know, and that didn't happen, and that's why I was quite relatively upbeat, not meaning to upset anyone. No. He's going to be all right, you know, and I'm so glad to see that he's even better than I expected.
The crash itself, Simon, we saw an interview with Pekko on Sunday evening. He was leaving the hospital. He said he didn't feel he did anything different. He said he felt a lack of grip on the warm-up laps and the sighting lap as well. Do we know from speaking to people today, was it Pekko's wrist that he was applying too much throttle, or was there a mechanical problem or potentially something else?
I've listened to rider debriefs to get an idea from last Sunday, to get an idea what they think, because I was waiting to hear if they think the left-hand side of the tyre took some more warming up. It was the harder tyre that they'd raced the day before, you know, qualified in the sprint the day before. So I expected it's a little bit harder compound. There's not very many lefts. It takes a bit of time to get heat in. So all of these things play a part. But also, electronics normally go a long way to prevent these type of accidents. So I look forward to ask Davide Tardozzi what he knows happened, you know, tomorrow, FP1.
I think we can be rest assured, Pekko Bagnaia coming up in our first of 2 press conferences, that question is going to get asked as well. Have you found out, was it rider error? Was it a mechanical problem? Of course, after that, all of our thoughts were with Pekko, but the race did continue, and it will go down in the history books as someday for Aprilia, with Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales finishing first and second. They were fast all weekend long, Simon, really making the absolute most of the track conditions in Catalonia, which we know is a very low grip circuit, the total opposite to what we have here in Misano. So, can we expect to see something similar from Aprilia, or will things be a little bit more challenging for them this weekend?
A little more. I mean, I very much doubt that they'll dominate like that.
Yep.
No, but I think they're in a good place, Aprilia, meaning they are competitive. They know the circuit well. Yes, it's high grip, the opposite, but it's also quite flowing in Misano, and that's what these machines do the best. You know, they're better than the opposition at flowing, keeping corner speed, and I think it's a big part of the lap time around here. Yes, Ducati's extra strong here, and you know, it's one of their test tracks that they spend a fair bit of time here with the test team, and the other thing is they're very good at stopping and starting, which this circuit needs. Ducati's going to take a lot of stopping. They've lost their fastest man in top form, you know, with the injury. Let's see how much, but what I'm saying is I think Aprilia are going to put the pressure on Ducati still here.
Well, as you say, an injury for Pekko Bagnaia. We don't know at what level he's going to be until he gets back on the bike. The same goes for Marco Bezzecchi as well. He suffered a fracture in his hand.
And Bastianini.
Bastianini is, of course, isn't going to be back until after both India and Japan. So it does feel like an opportunity for someone to cash in. Maverick Vinales is definitely one of them. He goes
He's
so
very
well.
good here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Loves this place. And he even said on Sunday he was incredibly pleased to have enjoyed that day with Aprilia, who really saved his career given what happened with Yamaha in the fallout from 2020. But the one thing that he sort of wanted to leave with the media as he walked off on Sunday evening is just wait until we get to Misano. He knows how strong he is here.
Excellent. Yep. And I did really expect Maverick to come in here confident, because the machine is the best it's ever been. He's riding it the best ever, and I think there's a really good chance. His results have always been good here. But while we're on a roll of people, machinery that can give Ducati a hard time on their back foot after injuries, and is, I think, KTM as well. It's been one of their worst circuits at this one in the past. They've really struggled, but I think they've made a massive step. They've really struggled with the low grip, and I didn't expect that in the last 2 races. I thought they were going to be stronger, but here's not low grip. And I think KTM are looking forward to here as well.
Danny's done a lot of track time around here with a couple of private tests. Is, of course, going to be taking part this weekend as well. And we know just how well he went last time Pedrosa made his MotoGP return at the Spanish Grand Prix. So, one to watch.
I also look forward to what Danny, all the test riders, are going to turn up with, because they are the development team. They're not allowed anything aero or engine-wise different, but that doesn't stop chassis, swing arms, etc. So I look forward to what the test teams bring here, including Danny.
That's 2 riders to watch in terms of the championship chase. Well, 3 of them, Aleix Espargaro, Maverick Vinales and Brad Binder as well. You would have to say, although on the outskirts, on the periphery of that title fight, is certainly not out of it just yet. One man who is right in the middle of it, now only 50 points adrift, is Jorge Martin, given, as we've described, the injury issues to both Bagnaia and Bezzecchi, his primary title rivals. How big of a weekend is this for Jorge?
Huge. And I feel that Jorge is really under pressure to perform in this next period, because he's got a big opportunity, meaning you have to, this is part of the sport, you have to take advantage of the opportunities you're given, and Jorge needs to capitalize on these races, you know, and I hope he can do it, you know. I'll be honest, I don't know, but he's got the speed. It's just whether he can get those points Saturday and Sunday, like I said, to capitalize, because I really believe Brad can. He's the sort, and that's what the thing that's missing from Jorge to give me the confidence to bet on him, you know. And I hope he proves to us all that he can do it.
Brad has got that consistency, and we've seen it throughout his MotoGP career. It's probably the one thing that you have to put against Jorge, that even at this point, we're still not seeing the performances week in, week out. It looked as though he'd turned a corner halfway through this season with his performances in Germany in particular. Why do you think since then it maybe just hasn't gone to plan?
Well, he's saying his qualifying is, which used to be always so strong, has eluded him, you know, disappeared, abandoned him. And I think it's partly because of the new engine that they've got. They've all the factory spec bikes, Pramac and Ducati factory, have had some problems making friends with the new engine, and Pekko clearly did that first. I think Jorge's almost there. That's why I'm waiting to see if he clicks like Pekko has. So I think that's the main problem. If he can, then both his qualifying and race will be, you know what I mean, it'll be there.
Yeah, that's quite right in saying that his qualifying used to be his strongest sort of strength in a way. The fact that he was able to put that one lap together week in, week out, but has in recent weeks just faded away from him ever so slightly for one reason or another. I know yellow flags, and in Assen, for example, a costly crash. Yeah,
mistakes in qualifying. Yeah.
Knowing just how important it is now. Let's talk Misano test then, shall we, Simon? Because Honda and Yamaha are, of course, the factory garages just below us in pit lane that everybody here is going to be trying to get a look at to see if those 2024 bikes are going to be the machines to change their fortunes. From rumours and murmurs and everything else within the paddock, what are the talks that we think Honda and Yamaha might be bringing?
I literally have no idea. No, I don't. They're keeping things well under wraps. I mean, there's been a test, Carl, at Aragon. But I don't know at the moment. All I know is from what Mayo Marigali said to us on the live last week is with the new chassis, if it works at the test, the 23 machines chassis, they can use that, even though they can't use the engine, but which tells me the engine is based on the same engine, because otherwise you couldn't interchange chassis, 23 and 24. So the Yamaha is based on the same machine, based the engine, you know, but for sure it's going to have different internals, trying to improve things. It's got a different chassis, but yeah, we're seeing a KTM on screen. There's the Europeans all are on a roll, and I look forward just as much to see what they're going to bring. Yeah. You know, although engine-wise I expect less changes, but to me, Honda have to change their engine. Like, they've tried everything else, and I've been saying for some time that Honda, I believe their problem comes from the engine, and that's why I so look forward to go down to their garage on Monday and listen to their engine to be able to tell if it's changed firing order-wise or what, you know, because it needs to change in my opinion.
I've just been listening to, well, not this man, Joe Mir, but Marc Marquez, his teammate, in between the podcast and us coming back onto the live here, has been doing his media debrief to the journalists on site. And again, fascinating, not actually what he says, but what he's not saying at the moment. In an interview with DAZN, our Spanish broadcast partners, midweek, he admitted he knows where he's riding next year, but then continued to stick to the line that when pressured over, will you be riding for Repsol Honda next year? I have a contract with Repsol Honda. That's all he's saying. Again, that's what he reiterated then. Interestingly, someone asked him, now that you know that your future's settled, you know where you're riding next year, is the Misano test crucial? And he said, no, it's not crucial. He said, I'm going to ride the 2024 bike and try and offer the feedback to improve the project for the future. But it sounds as though that regardless of what Honda bring, Mark's made his mind up already. That's going to be some concern to Honda, would it not?
You're alluding to Mark
leaving. Yeah, the talks are that it's a Gresini Ducati seat potentially coming his way next year, and the various paddock murmurs often can be true, and that all of the intentions, all of the signals are that he's maybe looking for a way out of Honda?
Well, I will be very surprised, really. I believe that the Japanese will get some form of updated, upgraded, modernised concessions to help them. And if they get that, it's going to be a massive boost, massive help and advantage. And I believe that Honda will be saying to Mark, we're going to have this advantage, freedom to change aero and engine and during the year, and you get to keep your wheelbarrow of signing fee, where if he goes, I know that it is, look, that's why I'll be really surprised, but let's see what happens. I want to know if there's something to your hearing, the rumours.
Of course, the bikes that both Honda and Yamaha bring on Monday are not going to be the same bikes that they have on the grid for round 1 in Qatar next season. This is version 1 that they'll then go away and develop. So is it as much a part of the attitude change that's been both Mark and Fabio have said that they want to see a more European style attitude from the Japanese manufacturer? So is this their first opportunity to show that they are listening and they are trying to change the way in which they work?
Very good way to put it. That is, if you are the factory rider at Yamaha or Honda, what we see on Monday test is the first hope that you can give your rider. We are heading in the right direction. Basically, they want to see an improvement. And if they don't, it's going to be massively disheartening. It's not the end of the development period. It's just the start of the race to next year to build the right bike. And it's got to be, at this point, a step forward engine-wise, because everything else can be changed. But if we need to see a step forward in Japanese manufacturers engine-wise to give everyone hope, including their riders.
We're talking about 2024, of course, and the Misano test, giving the teams their first opportunity to try the prototypes for next year. But for the likes of Ducati, KTM and Aprilia, who still feel that they have a real chance in this World Championship with another 8 races to come after this weekend, will work still go on to improve the 2023 package?
Of course. They've all got areas that they want to improve, and the engine is a big part of it, and it's why I say it's so important, because it's not just the power. Like I'm saying, the Honda needs to change their engine. It's not slow, it's fast. But as a very clever engineer told me, 80% of the grip that your machine has comes from engine character. This guy he works on engines, He says, if it's not right, there's nothing you can do to fix it. It has to be that good at the beginning. Then you do the last 20% with chassis, with suspension, with electronics. But if it's out anyway, you can't mask it. So it's not just acceleration and grip. It's engine braking, the crank's too heavy or light, handling. Basically, the heart of the motorcycle is the engine. If it's wrong, you can't fix everything else. It disturbs everything else. So that's why I'm so keen to see what the Japanese, now you understand, bring on Monday. But all of the others are closer, but they never stop trying. Ducati's engine 23, like I said, has changed. And it's what's upset the balance of the bike and the riders a little bit. It's taken a while to figure that out.
Brings me on to my next point. It's obviously, as we mentioned right at the start, no Enea Bastianini this weekend. The Italian, as a result of that crash at the start in Barcelona, will miss this weekend, and the Indian Grand Prix and the Japanese Grand Prix as well. It just compounds what's been a write-off 2023 for him. But out of all of those 3 events, given the struggles he's having with this new Ducati, is actually missing Monday's test going to be arguably the most crucial thing, to have that free track time, that opportunity to go out and try and find a bit of a breakthrough with a bike that he's not looking comfortable on at all?
I don't think that the test for Enea is a massive loss. The injury is because he needs to come back to get his confidence back. Ducati have already confirmed him for next year. He's there, but for his own mental health. He needs to come back and get the confidence back up and ride this is one of his good tracks, one of his best tracks, and he's going to miss it. It's a real shame, an opportunity not to build that confidence, opportunity lost. So I think Ducati have enough good people around, meaning Michele Pirro, their star rider Pekko, and everyone in between, to steer them in the right direction with their new project. I don't think he's going to be missed on that, and there's no disrespect to him, but they already have the people in place.
The same question of how important Monday will be to the likes of Jack Miller as well. We've touched on KTM, and this being a big opportunity for Brad Binder this weekend. Jack's been in a difficult run of form at the moment. He's
the doldrums a bit,
yeah, really struggling at Silverstone, then in Austria, and then again even more so in Catalonia. 3 tracks that he said didn't offer a lot of grip, and that's where he has his biggest problems. So can we see a turnaround here, and how important is the test for him so early in this new adventure to try and find the next step on the KTM?
Yes, I believe this can be the turning point for Jack that I've been waiting for, and I was hoping it come a few races ago. I kind of lost hope a little bit when it was happening again in Catalonia, but then I listened to his debrief, and it was so open and honest, explaining how he's tried over the last races, low grip tracks, because his setting didn't work, tried his teammates, Brad Binder's, and how all it did was take away his strong points, because Brad rides more on the rear and Jack needs the front. I was more front, so I totally understand what he was saying. And he said running Binder's setting, it took away his sweet spot with the front, and then he had no tools to fight with. So they came back, and the hope that I saw was his result on Sunday was a step forward from really in the teens to 8th or something like that, 7th, 8th. And here at a high grip track, I think his main problems are going to disappear. Doesn't mean he needs to fix the other ones at low grip tracks, but I think we're going to be in less trouble. Well, Jack's going to be in less trouble here. He is very clever, very experienced, and he's a big part of KTM, their, rise. So he's very crucial on Monday to be here for them.
And that leads us to clarify, I'm sure some of you at home may well have been reading on social media, rumours that KTM had offered Jack the opportunity to become test rider next year to open up that spot for Pedro Acosta, but people from KTM that I've been speaking to today calling those rumours complete and utter, well, actually, I can't use the word that they used, but complete and utter rubbish. Jack Miller will absolutely be in orange in 2024. It does seem it's another saga that is continuing with regards to the 2024 rider market, that Pedro Acosta is confirmed to be moving up. It will be one of Paul Espargaro or Augusto Fernandez to step aside and make room for what could be the Moto2 world champion. He, of course, is deep in a fight with Tony Arbolino for that title, but it's still a lot of moving and shaking to be done for 2024. The latest piece of the puzzle was put in earlier today. We're going to hear from him in our second press conference. Luca Marini confirmed to stay with the Mooney VR46 squad. Don't think that came as a surprise to anybody.
He wasn't your brother, who's going well.
He's not going anywhere, was he? So good to see that Luca's going to be back on the bike, but other than that, there's some real intrigue for the open spots. That Pramac Ducati seat still open, Gresini Racing still open.
They're the 2 big ones.
And those are the ones that everybody is talking about. Franco Morbidelli is yet to find a place, and those rumours persist with Marc Marquez as well. Anything that you've heard, Simon, with regards to next year?
No, gossip-wise, you're better than me. I like looking at the bikes and hearing it, leaving that to you guys, honestly.
Certainly looks as though in the next couple of weeks we should have more news as to the final pieces of the puzzle for the 2024 MotoGP grids, because those seats are filling up. Potentially we might hear some news this weekend. Franco Morbidelli, who has been linked with that Pramac Ducati spot, has said you won't have to wait too much longer to find out exactly where I'm going to be riding next year.
That would be, I think, massive for both Morbidelli's career, because I have full faith in that he will get on which is the best bike in the grid if he does get on Ducati, and he will get his confidence back and he will be back on the podium. You know, he's a good rider. He's already proven that. Second in the World Championship. He just needs the machine under him and his confidence back.
Absolutely. What a move it would be to be jumping on the latest spec Ducati after suffering with Yamaha over recent months and years, as has Fabio Quartararo as well. A huge move for him, if that proves to be the case, but we'll have to wait and see. Right, just waiting for the riders to rock up now. It's a busy old press conference. Pekko Bagnaia will be joining us alongside Jorge Martin, Marco Bezzecchi and Aleix Espargaro as well. I think we've mentioned the key contenders, Simon. Is there anyone else that we've forgot to mention that could well throw a spanner in the works? I think for me, Maverick, Jorge Martin, and well, you can't write off Pekko Bagnaia despite his injury problems.
Well, the only thing that I would like to say is, you know, that Jorge Martin's looking at the championship with, you know, but you know Brad Binder is as well, and he's going to see this as an opportunity to, you know, I feel Brad is the big danger, you know, because he can. He's just so determined and so consistent. So I hope I don't jinx him by saying that. But if I was a competitor, he is a man I'd be worried about.
Yeah, there is huge excitement and intrigue ahead of this weekend, because after Pekko Bagnaia's purple patch came to an end in Barcelona, it does feel as though everybody that was writing off the championship has been done and dusted, and now going backwards and feeling that anything can happen in the blink of an eye. And with Pekko far from 100%, what an opportunity this weekend poses to try and make sure that they go into these Asian leg of races in a couple of weeks' time, having piled the pressure on and trying to get the momentum back in their favour.
Every year it gets to a point where we think, well, we hear, oh, the championship's done, and every year something happens because it's so unpredictable, so easy to get injured and so easy to fall. They're riding right on the limit. And let's turn it back to Pekko. The main thing is he's fighting for the championship. He will want just to get some points this weekend. Get on the bike, see how he feels, and then decide whether it's I can have a proper go at this, or it's just to rescue some points that could make the difference at the end of this year.
Okay, listen up. This is going to be an interesting press conference as we get to hear from Pekko Bagnaia officially for the first time since that monster crash in Barcelona just 4 days ago. Joining the world champion on the stage, Jorge Martin. Marco Bezzecchi providing an injury update of his own, and our victor from last time out in Barcelona, Aprilia's very own Aleix Espargaro. As ever, talking you through this first press conference is Matt Burt. Over to you guys.